Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for joining me here. All right. I'm Julie Harris, as you know, and I've been a coach with Coach Me for the last 5 or 6 years. And I'm really excited that you could join me. I am what you call a recovering overachiever and the world's only certified Make Time coach. Well, I'll tell you a little bit more about Make Time in a few minutes. And my friend Connor has also joined. He is a Make Time aficionado. So between the two of us and Jake and John Zaratsky, I'm happy to share their work with you today. All right, so I'm going to offer up something a little revolutionary. I will encourage you to dial back on doing it all, to step back from any headless chicken state you may tend to inhabit and move away from the pull of the technological morass. Instead, we're going to practice going slow to go fast. We may or may not have time for questions at the end, depending on how we go, but I will pop my email address into the chat at the end if you'd like to ask questions following our time here. So to get started, I've prepared a little poll to take our temperature. So let's see, if you could click over on the right-hand panel next to chat, there's something called polls. Can all of you see that? If you can't, it's not a big deal. I'm gonna read the questions to you. But if you can, the first question in the polls section is, in the last 24 to 48 hours, have you felt rushed or stressed, forgotten something like your keys or what you were doing or were about to say, fallen down a technological rabbit hole, or dreaded going back to work or school on Monday? All right. Just give me a heads up in the chat if you can see that poll and if you're already voting, because I can't just somebody say, yes, I can see the chat. No, I can't see the chat. Oh, good. Thank you, Linda. All right. Thanks, Melissa. Fabulous. Okay. So go ahead and vote for the one. Maybe all 4 of those things have happened, but maybe vote for the one that you notice the most. Okay. And if none of that happened, that's fabulous. Say none in the chat, or just don't answer anything and be quiet and keep to yourself. All right, I'm going to look at the results. If I can see the results, and I can't see the results. So this is the fun of technology. That's okay. It says you've all voted. Oh, you're such good kids. What I want you to do now is just think about, okay, what you answered. You felt rushed, you forgot something, you fell down a technological rabbit hole, you're not looking forward to starting school or work on Monday. What did that make you feel? Just come up with one word. Since I can't see the poll results, what will help me is if I can see the word that defines your reaction to experiencing those things. So just one word in the chat. Stressed, Kretha writes stressed, dread, overwhelmed, lost, UFO, overwhelmed, stuck, anxious. Okay, that's very, very helpful. Thank you. Thank you. We're gonna go to, thank you, Connor, for putting that in there for me. Connor, you are a dream. 32% felt rushed or stressed. Okay, wonderful. And Katrina, you all of the above. Thank you, Connor. All right, let's go on to poll number 2, which is, in the last 24 to 48 hours, have you slept solidly for 7 to 8 hours? Have you been fully present with a child, pet, friend, or loved one for 5 straight minutes? Have you gone for a walk, a run, or a bike ride outside? Or have you felt excited about anyone? So go ahead and vote for the one you noticed the most or the one thing that you did. And if you didn't do any of them, there is no judgment here at all. You can just say in the chat, I didn't do any of those things. That's fine. Just kind of curious as to see how we're doing. And can you select all of them? You can write, yes, I did all of them. Unfortunately, this poll won't let you choose all of them. John got some good sleep, great. Definitely excited for 2021. Wonderful, Robert, excellent. Okay. Connor, when you get a chance, because obviously you're able to do something I can't, you've got the magic fingers. If you can show us the results, and if the rest of you could also think about what is that one word to describe how you felt about that second poll, those 4 activities. Yes, I did it all, but maybe that's why I'm stressed. Yeah, I guess it's stressful to be healthy. Is that what you're saying? You feel great, but guilty. Okay, calm and refreshed, connected, excellent, present, wonderful. Okay, thank you for participating and helping me get a temperature control here. All right. You may have noticed that the first set of activities were things that happened to you, and that the second could be more about your own agency and choice. Making the choice to prioritize sleep and exercise are, well, how you invest in your health and well-being, as well as the health and well-being of those around you. I firmly believe, and I've witnessed it time and time again with my clients, that if we can commit to the 4 pillars of healthy eating, good sleep, regular exercise, and deep, meaningful connection with ourselves and others, well, everything else falls into place. Our energy, our decision-making, our creativity, our empathy, productiveness, everything. It works. It just seems to work when we get those 4 pillars. 4 pillars. I'm wondering how many of you exercise every day, if only for 10 minutes. Can you put that in the chat for me? Marilyn does, Erica does, Megan, Chris, Helen, excellent. Wow, you are, you know, you don't have to be here today. Oh, wait, Jessica, you exercise 4 to 5 times a day? Okay, well then, you know, you are an overachiever by all intents and purposes. That's amazing. All right, so how many of you exercise in nature? Always something to learn. Sometimes, so Merlin exercises in nature. Philip does too. Wonderful. And during this lockdown in so many countries, I bet some of us have been able to get out. Connor does in London when he can. COVID is making it hard to get out into nature, so I hear you. Mieka does it 5 times a week. Wow, 3 to 4 times in nature. It's also freezing. Now we have some people here from Canada. It's freezing in, you know, England. It's kind of hard. Ooh. Okay. So getting back to exercise and nature and getting those 4 pillars right, healthy eating, exercising, sleeping, connecting. So solid and stable takes more than good intentions, as many of you know. We all have busy lives, goals, to-do lists, professional and personal demands. Some of you are single parents. Others of you may be caring for aging parents or caring for someone who has a debilitating disease. Some of you have a tremendous amount of work. I know, I have clients, I'm hearing from you. It's not easy to manage everything. Some of you are suffering from insomnia. Some of you have a physical injury or eating challenges. I hear you, I've been there. So how do you get everything you need to do done and take care of yourself at the same time? Because I bet you're getting that from me. Well, this might surprise you, but contrary to popular belief, this life we call our own, it's not a race. There's no prize at the end for the most hours worked or the most to-dos done or the most likes or even the most money made. You won't get a medal. There is a prize, however, for how well you lived your life, for the quality of those close connections you experienced, for any small amount of good you were able to do in the world, for any happiness or joy that you inspired, for those small and big, meaningful moments. Well, the prize, what is it? those are the things you'll remember. You won't remember the clean floor, but you'll remember the chocolate smeared across your child's face. You won't remember all the emails you cleared out of your inbox. And if you do, I'm worried about you. But you will remember that long walk in nature with a close friend, mutually sharing your thoughts and feelings. You won't remember the endless meetings, but you will remember the last phone call you had with your mother. She mentioned to me a few days ago that to be able to run, she needed to learn to breathe. I thought about that for a bit. Well, she's right, of course. A lot of people run and they seem to have mastered the breathing thing. And those that didn't, well, I guess they're not running anymore. So how do you do it? I learned several years ago that to breathe while running, I had to breathe out. I was one of those novice runners who kept taking huge barrels of air into my lungs and, well, holding it, hoping to, I don't know, activate a superpower. But my trainer said, Julie, breathe out. Let it out. You have to empty your lungs to be able to fill them. You have to breathe out to breathe in. Which brings me to go slow to go fast. Every pause before action prepares your brain and body for efficient action. I'll say that again. So every pause before action prepares your brain and body for efficient action. We often think that our bodies and minds are responding in real time to our surroundings, but I was diving into some of the brain research recently, and I came to reflect on the fact that our brains are in the constant business of anticipation. Your brain has already predicted what I'm going to say, or that your chair is getting uncomfortable and you need to get up and move. You're probably shifting right now, but your brain, it worked that out well ahead of me saying so. So when you pause, you break that around the clock anticipation, that moving before you're really ready, that picking up of your phone, that saying something that isn't fully fleshed out. You also give your brain and body a break. The more you practice creating pause, which is how you learn how to go slow to go fast, the more your brain forms the habit of pause itself. It learns that you are in the business of breathing out to breathe in, of pulling back, as in an arrow in its bow, in preparation for flight, for hitting its target. And my experience shows that the more I give the gift of a meaningful pause to my brain and my body, the better I can focus on doing the things that matter. Now, going slow to go fast gives us the space to see and taste and feel that which really matters, what really needs to be done or said or not done, not said. Rather than staying in monkey mind, jumping all over the place, doing our best imitations of headless chicken, I see you doing yours. The very act of creating pause slows us down and gives us half a chance at stopping the relentless chatter. Going slow to go fast means we can say yes to the important. And the more we say yes to the important, the easier it becomes to say no to the non or unimportant. How many of you have periods of deep focus in your day? How many of you enjoy working on something you love for 1 to 2 hours on a regular basis? Just raise your hand in the chat. I'd love to know that. Hi, Erno. So Erno gets regular periods of focus. So does Megan. I think, yes, Jessica does too. Melissa, my goodness, I think you people can give this talk if you're doing that regular focus. My bet is, Jessica, all of you there who are managing to do it, Erno, you've created the conditions that will lead to deep focus. You know when your peaks and your troughs are, you're scheduling your hardest tasks during the time you're at your cognitive best, You're scheduling and batching the more administrative types of tasks for your troughs. You're energizing your body and mind with regular breathing and exercise. You're making sure that you're getting in daily connection with nature and humans and animals and passions that inspire you. And by creating moments of pause throughout your day, right? Tell me that's what you're doing. And if you've got any other tips, throw them in the chat, because I am by far not the expert, but I love learning. So if you've got better tips, please let us know. But if all of that sounds like a lot, let me break it down a little and share a little bit of what I use with my clients, but give you 3 tactics that you can choose from today that can help you slow down to go fast. We're going to borrow a bit from Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky, who wrote Make Time. It's a methodology used by individuals, families, and even in the workplace, including at Google, Netflix, and NASA. Jake and Jay-Z have close to 90, if not more, tactics in Make Time, but I picked 2, and I'll share one of mine. At the end, I'll share a link to their work so you can get more if you're interested. Right now, let's focus on taking control of the design of your life. So the first tactic is the morning routine. Many of you probably have one. If you don't, let's just talk about it briefly. I find it a wonderful way to start off your day with a pause. Again, this may be hard to put into place or even feel counterintuitive. I mean, why would you bound out of bed to then slow down? Because this is your #1 best moment for setting your intention for the day. Do this, I would encourage you to think about the 3 things that would set up your best possible day and how much time it would take you to do those things. For example, it might be just sitting quietly, staring into space over a cup of coffee or tea while your home still sleeps for a few minutes. And the idea is you do it every day. You get up every day and you do this one thing. I'm going to offer up one caveat though. I would suggest to not look at the news, your email, social media, or your texts. Better yet, don't even touch your phone. What we want to do is stop your brain and body's addiction to adrenaline rushes the first thing in the morning, to teach them to pull back before rushing forth. So choose 3 things. Mine include meditation, reading a great book, reflecting on the day with a cup of the world's best coffee, visualizing what's to come, and imagining the best possible results. I also have a daily gratitude practice in there. You could try any of those things for your morning routine, for example, or, some people like to stretch, do a bit of yoga, go for a run or walk before breakfast. Some like to journal. Once you've figured out your top 3 things and you know how much time you can dedicate to them, think about what time you'd have to get up in the morning to get those things done, and then backtrack 7 to 8 hours. What time do you need to go to bed and be asleep so that you can get enough sleep to get up? That if it's a half an hour earlier, it's a half an hour early. It could be 15 minutes, okay? But having 3 things that make you happy, first off, and which serve as your pause to go slow to go fast, I promise you will make getting up in the morning that much more wonderful. The trick is you'll need to choose. If you can't choose 3 things, choose 1. Get up every morning to give you just one thing you love before the day starts. Single parents out there, I swear by this. I used to get up at 5 in the morning in Paris just to be able to write before everything else started. And I'm a night owl. But I love that pre-dawn writing time so much that it became a habit and a saving grace. The second tactic is the highlight, which is the work of Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky. Again, the creators of Google Ventures Design Sprint. I've had the pleasure of working with Jake and Jay-Z and Connor, who's with us today, and with many clients who now use this technique to great effect. The idea is you choose 1 highlight every day that you will commit to. This is your day's bright spot. And choosing it, thinking about it, putting it into your schedule early in the day is going to give you a much greater chance of being proactive about how you spend your time instead of letting technology office or home defaults or other people set your agenda. I like to highlight as something that when I look back at the end of the day and I'm really happy I did it, or it's going to be something I'll remember. Bonus, using the highlight system makes it a lot easier to remember what we've done with our lives. And it's tremendous at helping us focus on what matters. Double win. Talk about a meaningful pause. So to figure out your highlight, Jake and Jay-Z came up with 3 questions. The first one is, what is the most pressing thing I have to do today? Here you'll look for activities or projects that are time sensitive, important, or medium size. They won't take 10 minutes, but they won't take 10 minutes, hours either. Question 2, at the end of the day, which highlight will bring me the most satisfaction? Whereas the first question gets at what you need to do, this one gets at what you want to do. And question 3 is, when I reflect on today, what will bring me the most joy? That might sound familiar. As Jake and Jay-Z say, not every hour has to be optimized and orchestrated for maximum efficiency. The goal of time methodology is to steer you away from the impossible vision of perfectly planned days and toward a life that's more joyful, less reactive. That means doing some things just because you like doing them. As you're thinking about your highlight, they recommend choosing something that will take more than 10 minutes. A good rule of thumb is to choose a highlight that takes 60 to 90 minutes. If you spend less than 60 minutes, you might not have time to get in the zone. But after 90 minutes of focused attention, most people need a break. 60 to 90 minutes is a sweet spot. Now I'd like to give you quickly an example of the power of the highlight. So I was in Chiang Rai, Thailand in early 2020. Just as the COVID-19 pandemic was ramping up. We were at an elephant sanctuary doing volunteer work with rescued elephants. And one morning I'd logged my highlight, which was to focus on cleaning up the elephants' sleeping accommodations and shoveling elephant poop. All right, so my intention was set for the day. At breakfast, we learned from another volunteer that she was up at 3 in the morning on an urgent call with her husband who told her President Trump was closing the borders. Flights from Thailand would be canceled. She had to get back immediately. The airlines were scrambling, routing and rerouting passengers. She was going to have to try to get to Miami and then on to her final destination. But the seats were filling up and time was running out. And you can imagine the panic. So the problem was, we had no internet access. It was impossible to get verification. Our family was going on to Laos and Cambodia. We live in France, so returning to the States wasn't an issue. The issue was, what was the rest of the world going to start doing about flights from Southeast Asia? Pause. Breathe out to breathe in. Pull back. I remembered my highlight. Should I scrap it and try to get someone to take me into town to get a phone card so I could get internet data? Well, that would take an hour. And then an hour in town trying to find a provider. Should I start panicking? Would you have started panicking? Tell me in the chat, would you have gone, oh my God. I thought about my highlight again. What am I going to remember? What will I feel good about at the end of the day? Pause. What can I realistically control? I took a sip of my coffee, walked up to the elephant who stood swaying a few feet away. She too was just waking up. The elephants and their poop won. And that's a day I'll always remember. So we have about 4 minutes left. I have a third tactic. It's the distraction-free phone. Please raise your hand if you know what that is, if you've heard about it. Tell me about it. A distraction-free phone is one in which we remove most, if not all, of the apps. You start with the social apps that you get rid of. You get rid of the other games, news, streaming apps. You get rid of email. You get rid of web browsers. Now, this is something that Jake and Jay-Z swear by. They've both had distraction-free phones for the last 8 years. I can tell you you can still reach them. They're still human. They are creative and productive. They don't have any of these things that I just mentioned on their phones. What they do have is maps, podcasts, photos, music, calendar, weather, even phones that work. They swear by this. I would like to encourage you to try this. If you can't conceive of getting rid of all of those apps, I would recommend getting rid of Social First. Don't worry, you can reinstall them. The companies have made it very, very easy. If you still don't feel comfortable, maybe get rid of a few things you could get rid of. If not, hide the apps so that they're not easy for you to find. A really good tip is to get all of your apps off of your home screen. So it's just a beautiful picture of your child, your horse, your cat, your loved one, whatever it is, so that you are no longer looking at a phone for notifications, but are seeing a place of pause. Get rid of notifications. If you haven't done that already, I highly recommend it. It changed my life. I did that maybe 2 years ago, and I can tell you, I love not behaving like the Pavlov's dog. I love not responding to every ding. I don't have any idea what's happening in the world while I'm with you, for example. My family has loved taking off notifications. That I did it, they've done it. I highly recommend it to reclaim your time. Remember, technology is not going to give you back your time, but you can. So before we end here, I see we only have 2 minutes left. I'd like to give you a gift, which I'm popping into the chat right now. Flight mode, yes, you're right, Philip. I'm just putting this in. Let me know if you can see it. Might be too big. Yeah. So try that again. I am giving you a list of all of the books that I highly recommend, including Jake Knapp's work and John Zeratsky's work, and many others who I use in my coaching. I can get them to you. They don't seem to be coming through, but at the very least, I will give you Jake's. I have so many books. If you write to me afterwards and tell me that you'd like to get the list, I'd be happy to send them to you. I've even got all of the websites for you. Try that again. Thanks for being so patient. You guys are tremendous. Up. There we go. So, Helen, I can send you the list. I can send all of you the list. If you just send me an email, my email address, I am going to put that in as well, which is right here for questions and comments and requests. There you go. That's my email address. And what did I want to say to bring us all to an end? I'm very sorry I've gone over time, but I've appreciated your taking the time to be with me. Thank you for spending this last half hour with me. We'll never get this time back. I'm very privileged to have spent it with you. Breathe out, breathe in, go live your best life. Thank you, everyone.